Hello and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This midweek episode we're going to be going over a few different topics. We're going to be going over PvE, PvP and both like for newcomers, new players and returning players. We're going to be looking at the forums, going to be giving our takes on if these people are saying anything that makes sense, saying anything that makes no sense, if they're absolutely bullshitting, if they're, being stupid, if they're actually being intelligent. I'm going to be giving my opinion on it as well, and sort of the positives and negatives of their arguments, and hopefully can kind of dissect it. So, we will be starting off in the PvE section. And this person states, Mythic Plus player base is being discriminated by Blizzard. Yeah, I as a PvPer, I have no sympathy. So, according to the latest update, raid trinkets are only attainable if you've defeated the corresponding boss on that specific difficulty. I'm pretty sure this has always been the case. This means that you need to kill at least 4 bosses every week for 3 weeks just to earn a single dinar. A dinar is basically not to be confused with a dinner, and it's basically something that you get as a currency to have as bad luck protection. So if you want a trinket from a certain boss, but you don't get that trinket from that boss, you basically get this dinar and you can buy it within the next few weeks as like bad luck protection, essentially. Which can then be used to purchase one trinket. Oh, there you go. Even then, you still can't access items like the one-armed bandit trinket, Muggsy's trinket, or the Gallywix ring with the Mythic track, simply because you haven't beaten those bosses at that difficulty. Yes, that should be the case, because if you were to go into a raid, kill the first 4 bosses of the raid, and then get the last bosses, which is always going to be better loot, the last boss always has better loot, if you get his trinket or his ring or his weapon or something, it makes no sense, does it? Because you haven't really earned the right to get that weapon. Yeah, like it makes absolutely no sense that you're going to be able to get this. I do think that you should have a right to be able to purchase any sort of trinket if you have completed that difficulty. So if you've completed the entire raid on normal, you should be able to access everything in that raid at a normal item level quality, like for bad luck protection. This is the way it should be. If it is very much even after you've killed the last boss and you've gotten, the max sort of difficulty done, and you still can't buy it, that's when it's a bit of a problem. It does be a bit of a kick in the balls in that way. This feels like blatant bias against Mythic Plus players. Why can't we just enjoy the game the way we prefer? You can. It's called playing Mythic Plus. We're paying a monthly subscription just to be sidelined and treated like we're less important. Oh, the vast majority of us want to focus on Mythic Plus content, so stop trying to force us into raiding. Is it really that unreasonable to want to earn the best Mythic Plus gear from Mythic Plus? Oh yeah, so just how like some of the best gear in PvP at the time, in previous expansions, have been from Mythic Plus or raiding as well. It's not like Mythic Plus players get to actually get all of their gear from the very first week. You are allowed to do as many Mythic Plus runs as you want, get fully geared. You can do plus 10s if you really wanted on the first week, if you're really just grinding out the Mythics. But you are subject to 2 pieces of PvP gear in the first week. No change about that. But yeah, sure, Mythic Plus players are the ones that are being discriminated against. Like, it's ridiculous. Let raiders stick to their content and earn gear suited for that. Why do raid items end up being the best in slot for both raid and Mythic Plus content? Because it's both PvE content. Okay, it is PvE content. All of it is. You don't see Delve people saying, oh my god, I'm forced to do Mythic Plus and raiding for my Delve trinkets. Like, no, it just makes no sense, obviously. It's all PvE related, but Delves are meant to be a stepping stone into Mythic Plus or raiding and stuff like that, in my opinion anyway. Or they can help you get to that point. Yeah? Does that make sense? Where was I? Why do raiders and... Yeah, being completely unfair. On top of this, Mythic Plus players already have to deal with a single random item from the Great Vault each week, and now we're hit with this. A single random item. Oh, that's It's quite lucky, isn't it, for PvEers? You know, I remember back in Dragonflight when PvP had a slot in the Great Vault, but now it's taken up by delves instead. Yeah, like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It seems so privileged almost to the Mythic Plus or the PvE community. I'm not saying that as a whole community. I'm saying that as like this person seems so privileged and doesn't understand like what he's taking for granted, pretty much. Several friends of mine are already cancelling their subscriptions, and honestly, it might be the only way to get Blizzard to listen. Maybe if enough people take that step, they'll stop treating the Mythic Plus community like a second-class citizen. What the fuck is a PvP class citizen then? That's got to be like sort of fourth world country, not even third. Look, this is ridiculous. I get that there's going to be annoyances when it comes to raiding and like having your best gear come from raids. I have been asked to do Mythic Plus with some friends. I've been asked to do some like plus 12s to get the achievement or whatever it might be to help them out. In order to do this, I need to be able to get some gear. So I've been doing Mythic Plus and I have been doing the raids for these items. And look, if I don't get the items, it's annoying because I don't want to do raiding. But I make the conscious choice to do it for that gear. And if I don't want to do the raiding, I will simply just say, I don't want to do it. And I don't worry about getting the best trinkets. All right? I'm something like 650 item level PvE now. Something along them lines. And I've been doing pugs and multiple runs with the people that I'm going to be doing plus 12s with. And I'm keeping up in damage with some shitty PvE gear and some really bad trinkets. All right, I think the one that I've got for Boomy is like the crit one from the Rookery last boss or something. It like puts a blob on the ground. It's really bad. For Boomy anyway. But like, you can do the damage like without the best gear in the world. Now, obviously, the gear helps, but you can still work with the gear that you have. Okay, it is possible, and I get that it's an annoyance, but it's an annoyance that, you know, PvP don't get any sort of vault, so count yourself lucky for getting another piece there. You know, that kind of deal. Count yourself lucky for being able to get the tier pieces within the raid itself. You know, because you can go in week 1, get what you need, and then essentially you're done with the raid. You've gotten your 4 tier pieces, you're done with the expansion, and then it's like, oh my god, Blizzard aren't releasing anything. You know, this is the people who rush content, okay? And just seeing this, it makes me annoyed because it's like, oh my god, I'm forced to do raiding because of this trinket. And it's like, yeah, but you can get gear on the first week of the like patch. PvPers have to wait 10 weeks? I mean, I think this week is the week that I just got fully geared, PvP-wise. Think about that. When did this patch come out? I can't even remember. It was like several weeks ago now. So it's absolutely ridiculous. We're in 0.5 of this patch, okay? And yet we're just got them fully geared. So it's absolutely ridiculous to think that. Look, I get that there are some annoyances, but people also pay for their subscription to do Mythic raiding. And to do Mythic raiding, which is considered the top of the top at PvE standards anyway, then, like, you deserve the best gear. And the thing is, in my opinion, you deserve the best gear if you do, like, PvP and you're the top of the top. But you can't do that because it is just more of an unfair advantage in PvP. So you get cosmetics instead. You get, like, the Glad mount and stuff like that. But even then, PvEers get like mounts for getting a certain Mythic Plus rating and stuff like this. So, you know, it's all subject to everyone's own opinion. But I don't think that you should be upset that there are your best trinkets in raid, because PvE content is just PvE content. Like, that's it. I get that Mythic Plus is more enjoyable than raiding, and I do agree with that. I think that that's my take on that anyway. But if you're doing PvE content, and you're crying about your best trinket coming from PvE content, you don't really have an argument, in my honest opinion. Because you can just say, look, great, I want a mid-max, but I really don't like raiding, so I'm not going to do it. So what's my next best trinket from Mythic Plus? Okay? It's that simple. It's that simple, and you need to switch your mindset to that sometimes, because it is what it is. Moving on to the next. Now, this is a little bit annoying. Solo shuffle, big waiting times. Can you guess what this person plays? Yeah. I wait 30 minutes to play a game. This is so boring. I just don't want to wait anymore, and I quit. Do something. Maybe add DPS only solo ladder. That would be horrendously bad. Or give healers some gold with each game so they are motivated more to play as a healer. People, no amount of gold in WoW, unless it's like 10k like each game, no amount of gold will get people to play as healer. And the reason, because people flame the healers. The healer could do everything perfectly. They could use every single cooldown phenomenally, and they could do everything. But if a DPS dies without pressing a bubble, or a ice block, the healer will still get flamed for it. That's the thing. That's why people don't want to play healers, is because people who play solo shuffle, and I get annoyed myself, but I don't actively flame people. They express it at the healer, and they let out their anger at the healer, and the healer's just like, well, why should I heal you then? Why should I subject myself to being ridiculed because someone's been a dipshit and they didn't use an ice block when I had no other cooldowns left and I'm in CC? It's that kind of deal. Solo shuffle is a disaster, and for someone who is playing solo, is the only way to enjoy PvP in the game. You clearly do not have friends that you do arenas with. I don't mean that to sound like really hostile or sort of snarky or anything like that, but I enjoy solo shuffle, don't get me wrong, but the thing is, doing actual 3v3 with people that you enjoy spending time with is a lot more enjoyable than solo shuffle. Comms-wise is a lot better, setup-wise is a lot better, the entire, thing is just better, in my honest opinion. Please do something to fix this situation. I can't wait 30 minutes plus to play a game. If he can't wait, he can go healer. He is a paladin. He has a holy spec. This will allow him to get a quick queue time. Okay? People who complain about queue times but just want more healers to sign up are the ones who complain at healers when they lose a round. And it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. The simple answer is he can just heal. If he doesn't care about what he's playing, which he hasn't stated, all he cares about is the queue times, then he can sign up as a healer. It's that simple. It's that simple to just change that. And people need to get over it. People really need to get over it, because either you sit your queue time or you simply go healer yourself. And then once you've gone healer and you really don't enjoy it, fair enough. But then you can't complain, because if you quit whilst you're playing healer, then you're the problem as well, is what you're stating, because no healers are queuing up. But you tried healer, you didn't like it, you quit, went back to DPS. So you're helping the healer shortage as well. It's ridiculous. Plus, healers just don't want to be flamed. There's no point. It's ridiculous. If you are a healer in solo shuffle, I recommend turning off chat. Genuinely. Because there's no point. Very little are the comms, useful comms in solo shuffle. There is very little useful comms in solo shuffle, and it's ridiculous. The next one I want to go on is something that's actually quite tough for people to understand, but not played since Dragonflight. How to PvP gear in the War Within. I haven't played since Dragonflight, when PvP set bonus gear was obtained through the vault, but as I can see, there is no longer rewards for PvP gear. So how is it obtainable? Do I have to do PvE content to get PvP set gear bonus, or am I missing something? I also don't understand all of these new currencies required for upgrading conquest gear. Is it me, or have they forced PvP players to do PvE content in order to progress and upgrade gear? If anyone is able to advise and the most efficient way to obtain PvP gear bonus or bonus set and upgrade conquest gear, it would be much appreciated, as I'm not sure if it's changed this season, as I've started late in the War Within. Okay, so he's very confused about many things, so I'm going to dissect this. Firstly, tier sets for PvP can be obtained through a catalyst. This catalyst is located slap bang in the middle of Dornogal, and essentially when you buy a set piece item, so head, shoulders, chest piece, gloves, and legs, you can, like from Conquest, you can transform these into tier pieces, and they will keep their PvP item level. That's how you get tier for PvP. You do not need to upgrade your Conquest gear. The only reason you upgrade your gear for PvP gear is if you are planning to do PvE content. Okay, PvP gear has a set item level when you go into PvP content. And it will say at the bottom, it will say this item level is increased to 6, 7, 8, I think. When entering PvP, like battlegrounds or arenas, it will say that at the bottom of the gear. You do not need to upgrade it at all. They're the two main things, because the currencies are related to upgrading the PvP gear. So you do not need to worry about this at all. And I get that it is somewhat complicated for people to coming back to the game to understand how to gear. So to gear for PvP, the best way to do it is to do battlegrounds to get your honor set or your honor gear. Okay. Once you have a base honor set or on a full set of honor gear, then you have two ways of getting better gear. You have through bloody tokens and conquest. Conquest is your highest item level PvP gear. Okay. Now, bloody tokens are very good to get still, because they are 3 item levels lower than conquest gear, but they are still very good if you can manage to get it throughout the night time that you're getting conquest gear. Yeah, does that make sense? Because it's a lot better than honor gear. And the way that you get bloody tokens is there will be a quest in Dornogal near the PvP vendors in that sort of courtyard area, and he will offer a quest to go to a certain zone and earn sparks of war. And these sparks, you need 100 of them. You get 100 by doing opening chests, doing world quests, killing the opposite faction in the zone, and then you come back and essentially you hand in this quest and it will give you a bit of honor as well as conquest and bloody tokens. This is how you earn this gear. Now, with conquest gear, you can earn this doing rated content. So rated arenas, rated battlegrounds, you could do solo shuffle, you could do many different things. These are the ways that you earn gear in PvP for the War Within. I hope that cleared it up a little bit. But yeah, this is, some people will get very confused when it comes to PvP, and I hope that this helped anyone sort of gearing. It's quite a simple process once you understand. Now, obviously, there are more intricate things like getting your embellishments, so your crafted gear, but that's a little bit more tedious to do, and I would honestly recommend getting a guide up for that, because I can explain it, but you would still be confused if I explain it, because it sounds so weird on how to do it. But yeah, you essentially get your mats, and then you send in a crafting order for a certain ring, neck, whatever you might want to make, and this person will make it for you. That's simple. But you need a couple things. You need a missive, you need the embellishment, you need the tokens to upgrade it for PvP item level and stuff like that. So it's best to, honestly, just look up a guide. I think Super Tees or something has one, like from Dragonflight or the War Within, that will help you understand that sort of aspect of gearing the crafted pieces. The last one I want to do is more of a newer or new/returning player kind of content. So picking up healer class/spec. Hi there everyone, I know that we're already deep within Season 2 at the War Within, however I am considering about becoming a healer in 5-man content. This is good. We always like healers, we always need more healers. I already have 3 classes capped at 80, Paladin, Monk and Druid. However, I have yet to decide which one I would be playing. I also realise that Monks and Paladins require to be in melee range to do damage. This is mandatory these days, be it recover mana or even dish out some damage. This fact gave me some anxiety. So any tips, advice, insight on the matter is welcome. Best regards, everyone. So, firstly, for druids as well, you got to be within melee, because you go feral, I'm pretty sure. For damage-wise, you don't do masses of damage as a healer in PvE content and PvP, unless you're a disc priest mainly. Now, for shamans and stuff, you're going to have stuff that automatically deals damage, like your surging totem with acid rain. You're going to naturally be doing damage with the acid rain talent when you put your surging totem down. But honestly, it isn't masses. So if you would rather just enjoy playing healer, you can just heal normally. Okay? You do not have to do the damage unless you're doing really, really high mythic plus keys. Okay? So enjoy the game as you want to enjoy it. And it is not mandatory in any way to do damage as a healer. In super high keys, yes, it is always beneficial and it will always be beneficial, but it is not a mandatory requirement, okay? I'm glad that people are looking to pick up healers because they are very difficult to play in both PvE and PvP content. Now, PvE content, I find it a lot more enjoyable to do damage whilst I'm healing because there can be a lot of downtime when it comes to just raw healing in PvE content, as tanks are quite sustainable by themselves. If the DPS don't stand in shit, you don't really have a lot to heal. Boss mechanics will do AoE damage. They're kind of your moments to shine, but that's about it. As for like any of these classes, yes, Monk and Paladin both are melee as well, but you have a lot of classes that aren't. So if you're looking at Shaman, you're looking at Disc Priest, you're looking at Holy Priest, what other healing? Evoker. These are all sort of caster healing classes. And these caster healing DPS classes, I would say, they do damage by casting, I should say, not by... they don't do healing by casting. Every healer does that. But these are the ones that you might want to look into if you are worried about being a melee sort of healer. Trying to do damage, because Evoker has your fire breath, you have your deep breath, you have, your disintegrates, these sort of things. Your Disc Priest will obviously have Mind Blast, penances, all of this good stuff. Holy Priest will have your smites. Resto Shamans will have your Surging Totem, and what was the last one? Am I crazy? Paladin? I think I've said all of them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've gone through all of the healers. But essentially, you aren't forced to do damage, okay? If you want to purely just be a healer, just be a healer. And I would recommend doing that if you are looking to pick up healing. I'd recommend that you pick up the basics of the healing, as it were, rather than try and focus on doing damage as a healer. You want to get your healing rotation down before you start implementing damage into this rotation. It just makes it a lot easier and something to focus on from the start, essentially. So I really hope that this somewhat helps, but I would recommend just taking it slow, focus on your healing rotation first, and then you can move into the okay, how do I optimize it fully now? How do I really optimize it? Oh, okay, this will do a bit more damage. You find the sort of breaking points of, I can use Lay on Hands when someone's 20% in this boss fight kind of deal, if they're low, if there's no damage, okay, the boss has just done his AoE, everyone's super low, but I know that there's no damage coming out now, so I have time to top everyone up kind of deal. So it's about learning these intricate things before you can really go for your damage, because you're not going to actively win a key by doing that extra bit of damage. It's so rare that you would. So I'd recommend, honestly, that. Just do your healing, focus on that first, focus on the break points of certain classes, of certain abilities that you can use to top someone up, but I'd recommend that first and then go into the damage. And this can be said for any sort of thing, even PvP. I'd recommend going on your damage rotation first, then you look at your CC afterwards, and then your positioning and stuff like this. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Do check out all of the socials down below, constant stuff happening, as well as Etsy, constant stuff being put up on there, changing, chopping and changing, all of that. Thank you all very much once again, and go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.